all of you for your presence, and sorry for my voice. The winter in South Africa is very tricky, quite difficult to relate with. Cold in the night, hot in the day. But here we are. So, well, I think that Marumo's match will be in the line of the PSL matches we play at home. Always teams that have capacity to aggress us in transitions, using always lineups with reinforcement of the strategy, try to avoid us to play on the spaces that we are very strong on. Teams that select players usually with speed in order to aggress us on transitions, try to catch us on a mistake or out of a ball that is lost and we are not positioned in the best way to deal with the transition, play especially long balls in the back of our defenders on the sides to make them come wide and then try to appear inside, or use some 1-against-1 where it can be an entry on the box and allow a shot. Look, these teams are capable to play football also, of course, in the moments, and sometimes it's more a mindset question than rather incapacity. Big respect for Marumo. We know that it's always a tough match. We need to be on our best as always, in a moment that our team is also on the rebuild process, let's say. I also would like to thank very much for the management of Marumo Gallants by the fact that they allow us to play the match in the moment we are playing it. As you remember, it was the first PSL match, and in that moment we were still under process of preparation as happened what happened. So thank you very much for that understanding. It's also important to highlight that. So I think that's a platform where we stand for this match. Picking the energy that we saw from the previous one and go with the level of commitment, the level of capacity, maximum power for the moment, try to give a step more in front in the quality of the game we want to play, and state ourselves in the match in order to achieve points, because we need to obviously do that.
As indicated, hopefully there will be short in the coach post-match and on Thursday also. Can we have new hands who will start? Chischera, you have anything to start? Mr. Paul.
Afternoon, Coach. Now, Paul from Soccer Beat. Coach, obviously, Tato Sibiya is off to Lille. Just, of course, your thoughts on that, and also, of course, having seen him and introduced him to the first team, how do you think he has sort of progressed in the squad and for him to go to Lille?
I think it's important to speak about that, of course, and thank you very much for the opportunity, because I also heard a lot of things that the club doesn't allow the players to move to the direction or to better opportunities or other opportunities. What the club does is obviously protect the assets that the club has, and obviously look with proper eyes the movements that are good for the club and good for the players. It's not just a matter of letting the players go, it's also where you let them go in order for them really to have the chance to become better. And the club has a big responsibility, especially with the players that grow up in our academy. It's a process of formation inside the club, but then also the big responsibility, not only on the ones that go for highest level, but also on the ones that need to be placed in teams that are not so obviously on the highlights. It's a big responsibility from a club, and is the last step of an academy, is to where we put our boys when they finish here. Regarding Tato, fantastic opportunity. As you know, I coached in France, so I know very well the club, where he goes to. I know very well the facilities that they have. I know very well the stability in terms of process of development of young players and the last stage of affirmation of young players. It's also at the same time a very competitive environment he's going to face. Obviously, I think he's ready for the challenge. What will speak for him is not the level of readiness he takes, is the level of readiness he's going to still develop there. because there's obviously steps that need to be given there so that he can be provided the opportunities even in the future in the first team. French football is very special. It's a very athletic football where he will have to cope with, especially in the front, players that are very, very quick, very athletic. It's a game that has a lot of transitions, a lot of exploitation of spaces. In some moments, it has a few things that can be related with our game. But Lille is a school of good football. It's a team that likes to play good football, so I think that is also a good environment because of that for him. From my side, as much as we believe in that the boy could be an important player for the future of Sundowns, we also know that he'll be an important player for the future of South Africa. And that's an opportunity that obviously is difficult to say no, and the club just had eventually to protect their own rights on the situation. So we are excited about that. We want to see him succeed. And we want to see him showing the character that he needs so that he speaks also about what kind of players we develop in the club and how he will get his affirmation will obviously make us very proud. I think he has conditions for, but he has still a lot to do there when he arrives. That's the challenge. It's a fantastic opportunity.
Yes. Coach, just as a follow-up to that question, Sibiya now, earlier in the week it was Maseko, and Sundowns is a club that is a flag bearer of South Africa at international level. You're going to play the Intercontinental Cup, the Super Cup. Is this giving also an idea to other younger players at other clubs who want to come here, say, contrary to whatever has been said, Sundowns is a club that is willing to see South African talent flourishing at international level?
Look, I think it's important that we understand, and in the last 1 year and a half, I think there's a few young players that went abroad to play, from Bokazi to Puzzo, Itejane.
Yes.
To the player of the championship. Now we have also. Look, that's quality. I always told you that there's quality in South Africa. The question is how we take that quality and how we are able to find the right environments for the players to have success. It's not only put them there, it's where they go, how they go, and what people that want to receive them want to get from them. So what kind of project you have for the player you're going to receive. And this is the obligation that the clubs need to have. I'm happy to see Mokoena doing so well as a start. I'm so happy to see what happened with Mokoena being highlighted in the platform that he has been throughout the last campaign of the MLS. Itejane, as we know, the coach just spoke about him recently, how he's now adapting. So we know that, and I hope the same will happen with Maseko. That will happen when he went in Cyprus. And I already spoke about Tapelo, and I have to repeat it again. Tapelo is a wonderful boy that has football to play everywhere. Obviously, he has special characteristics. His characteristics have to do more with a certain environment than others' environments. After he experienced Greece Cyprus in the way he did, obviously he was expecting to have other opportunities to express himself. And it's a conflict that we have to attend to. It's a position that we have to understand to. Obviously, the club cannot allow now all the players because they want to try something to go away. Otherwise, how we build our team. So we need to understand who is the player. The moment the player has an opportunity, and if that moment is coincident with the moment of the club. Otherwise, it would be obviously difficult to allow even a Maseko to go. For example, having the chance to bring a Sianda also a player that can play on the right, obviously opens more possibilities for Maseko to go. If we could not finish that deal, how we could release or open the heart for Maseko to go. So it's not, sometimes it's not a matter of we want, we can, or we, it's not, is it really possible? Are we doing the best? Because in the end we need to think about ourselves. Are we doing the best for this club so that we can still produce the results we want? And also how much value are the clubs allowing themselves to have the freedom to give for our players, because we can also not give players by any price anywhere in the world. And you know that people also sometimes look Africa like it's cheap, let's go there. And it's not like that, because what is cheap for some is very expensive for others. And for us, a player that goes away is a product that we have in hands, is something we know we can take performance from. So it's not that simple to just let it go and now we change. Otherwise, it would create us problems, of course. And you remember last year we had that issue with one or two players in the beginning of the season, and it touched us, and we could not let them go because they were very, very important. And we were right, because in the end we won the Champions League because of those players also. I remember Mudau wanted to in that moment, and we had to really find an agreement so that that would not happen. In the past, happened with others. There's always different sides to look at when we speak about these questions, and I think the club has dealing with them very well. That's the work, obviously, of the chairman and Mr. Fleming, because I see most of those things from a little bit of a distance, as I don't enter on the business side. I'm just an advisor in the sports side of the question, obviously, and that's my position usually on this.
Okay, no, then last two questions. No, then Karabo, then Sibu will be the last.
Coach, I'm not sure how your processes work in terms of all the other games that you played, but I'm asking this question because, yes, it's still early on in the season, but the results could matter in the greater scheme of things. Have you seen some of the games and your impressions of just how the league has started, also considering that most of the games have been high-scoring games throughout the 16 teams?
Look, I think that the teams are settling down. It's typical in South Africa, from the experience I have already here, that in the beginning of the season there's a lot of instability in the teams. The teams, some of them still finishing, and talks I have with the coaches here and then, still getting players, still looking for the best. Just think about our team. If you think about our team, you may imagine how we are still settling down players, how difficult it has been for us to get stability. We received the players from the World Cup late, after a deserved and not that big as it should have been period of rest. Among them, some were not in the best condition. For example, at Damane, he went for the World Cup. He didn't play one single minute. So all the vacation was then extended with, all the period he was in the World Cup was then extended with 2 weeks or almost 3 weeks without doing nothing. So after he started, he got injured. So imagine, people I know that, hey, listen, put the money to play, people don't have any idea about what they say. Unfortunately, in Sundowns, the fans, and I think those fans that speak too much are the ones that don't follow the team really, and they speak too much and understand too less. And I think it's important to settle down the critics on the players, to relate with the things in the proper way. This team is under rebuild. We lost so many important players that are still not able to give their performance. It was Keanu, it was Jaden. Nuno Santos is also in a process that doesn't allow stability. It's Brian that got injured in the preseason. His first minutes were on the last two matches. That we are speaking about 1 week. Because sometimes we see so many matches, it seems that it was a long period of time, but it was 1 week. And I could speak about many other cases. Tebsa is out and still, because that injury was something dramatic and huge. Jaden is what it is. So if you compare this team to the team that played the Champions League, tell me where are the similarities, because it's the Champions League final. There aren't. Obviously that it's our job now to find gradually as much as possible stability. It's also our job, and something we did, and I think we are doing very well, giving opportunities to players that in the past didn't play so much, and to bring up the players that are young, that are showing level. Like you saw in this match, you saw Sianda when he entered, the way he performed. Bennett, the way he has been performing, even Ben when he entered, the way he performed. So but there's new players. Cassius, he arrived, he's integrating himself, but his process of integration is more simple because he was already a Sundowns player. So there's a lot of things that are more quick. We lost also Arthur. It's important to understand Arthur was a very important player for us, a very, very important player. So there are a lot of dynamics that we are rebuilding, and the capacity to do it quick is very important. Of course, we know that we need to do that process as we get results. We all know that, but that no one needs to put negative pressure on the players. No one should now have behaviors that don't allow this process to really go the way it has to go, because it shows by one side the ones that understand football, that they are speaking without making a proper analysis on themselves, on the experiences they had as coaches in the past, as players in the past. Because it seems that when you pass from player, from coach, and you sit yourself in front of microphones, that you forgot what you did before. And in your time, it was all spontaneous generation. In football, there's no spontaneity generation. It's all due to work and time. Obviously, in Sundowns, time, work, results. Everything needs to be done at the same time. And here and then, obviously, you just get it on the last minutes, you just get it here and then. I think the team has been progressing well. We'll continue to progress. And as much stability as we can get through, obviously, recovering players, the best. But some losses will take time, and we need the other ones to get up. Today, I told the boys to believe on themselves, to close their eyes, close their ears, and just look about what we speak here, in this room and on the pitches and where we are together. Because the team is doing well. I think we did, obviously, here and then we could have been more aggressive in the first half in terms of offensive numbers, but we controlled completely the match. The match was, last match was a beautiful football match, very tactical, and sometimes also it seems that we don't respect the opponents we play against, when we play these big matches. But the league is there, the league is competitive and beautiful, a lot of football to be seen, some curiosity regarding some teams, from my side, but it will be a beautiful championship for sure.
Good afternoon, Coach. Maybe my question is a bit, I would say maybe biased a bit to a certain player, because I've watched him since he's arrived here at the club. His Zwane. He's at a different level now, age. Were you able to sit him down and make him understand that maybe we'll get a few minutes, not because of his quality, because he's arguably maybe one of the greatest players this club has ever had. Did you speak to him that you will have lesser time? Does he understand? Saw him over the weekend, the youngsters, they just love him, they caress him, What's your conversation with him considering the age that he's at now?
Look, Temba is a very important player for us. He's an important player still by what he can do in any pitch. You remember the first match we played for the MTN 8 Cup. He entered, he picked the ball in the back, he made 2 or 3 combinations, he progressed the ball together with other players, but combining, and he gives an assist for a goal. So never Miguel, as a coach, having a Temba in the squad, we look at him just as a number, not well, as a number is like the others, but as a player that he cannot play, come on. Age is not that. Age is not seen like that. But he's much more important than that. Exactly by the example of his silent leadership, by example, by the way he commits, by the way of everything he does in a regular basis, because he trains wonderfully every day. Of course, I had a talk with him, but he's so big as a human being that it was not me calling him. It was him coming to me. And it was not only him and Dennis. So both of them came to me 2 weeks ago, and they said, before the first match of the MTN 8, and they said, Coach, we just want you to feel in peace regarding ourselves. We just want you to feel absolutely 100% free to make your choices without worrying about our past. And I just told them, look guys, I'm absolutely just more certain about the level of human beings you are, because it's important to have that understanding from their side. Obviously, on the question of the goalkeeper, obviously it comes even more difficult because we had to make a movement on Ricardo that makes the things a little bit more difficult for Dennis. And on that talk, immediately I told them, look, Temba, just for you to understand, tomorrow you are on the team. Dennis, for you to understand, tomorrow you are not on the team. Because that is the way, honest, that I speak with my players. And I told them, Temba, I will let you stay out when I feel it's time. I will put you in when I feel it, the team needs you. And I will eventually use you sometimes, even not just bringing together or letting you stay, because I need to embrace my players. And they are all players. There are no players that are not players. They are all players, so they can all be useful. Obviously, that there's people that, and in the front, you saw, I spoke about that on the last press conference. I think this year we have more capacity in terms of changing players. There are more numbers with quality, and still Artur is out. So if Artur, when he will come, it will take time, as I said to you, a lot of time. He will be one more number. So it means that in the front we have possibilities to change. Of course, we would like to have kept the stability of an Artur, but there's more competitiveness. So it will make more difficult for everybody. Kutluwan was out last match. Siki was out last match. Ikem was out last match of the call-up. But if you go to see the team of Pirates, it's similar. There are important players that stayed out. I went to look who was on the bench, who was on the lineup. And it's clear. But this is big teams because we have a lot, especially the teams that are going to play African competitions have a lot of challenges, and the schedule will be absolutely hectic, as you may imagine. So, fantastic attitude that they had. When you have human beings on that dimension, it's more easy for me. That is always where I say that Sundowns is also a special club. And Sundowns is so special that last match finished, the FNB stadium was empty and the Sundowns fans were there singing and we were dancing with our fans. Those are the true ones. The ones that write on the blogs after one draw, in an away match with a title contender. Those are not the ones that support the team throughout all the matches that we see during the season. Because the ones, they know how to cheer, how to support, how to give love, because that's what the players need. I am the one that already shows them mistake. The way is this one. I am the one that think a lot about what I do. The question is that people outside, they speak about what they don't know. They think they know, then they don't know. And they also forget that they were players and they played football. And I know what they did, most of them, when they were football players. And it's important that we embrace each other. We stay strong, committed to our values, and trust each other, because that's how we have to do.
Okay, we'll take a match-related question, Mazolo.
Coach, you faced Putin Muhafe a few times when he was at Bulukwane City. His teams usually were quite stubborn, tricky to navigate for Sundowns and all the other big premiership sides. He's at Marumo now. How do you assess the situation? Do you think he's probably got his DNA in that team already from the matches that you've done?
Look, first of all, Marumo had and has players that are very interesting. Second, it's true. The coach in the past, he made difficult times live for Sundowns. I also remember that most of those matches were played in that second stadium in Polokwane. It was like a strategy to take Sundowns there, to not allow the game to be played in the way it has to be played. That is something that I really also want to praise, because when we went to play TS Galaxy, it was an appeal to change the game to a smaller stadium, and the league didn't allow that to happen when we showed that. And that is also a step forward. We just need to be consistent on that attitude. Best players or good matches should be played in the best pitches. That's how South Africa will develop, because that's what we praised when we see the AFCON, we see the World Cup, we see the best matches in the Champions League. It's teams providing conditions so that the football is well played. And look, we had a terrible, difficult match when we played Galaxy on the big stadiums. And the stadium was fantastic, the pitch was good. So it's not because of the pitch that teams it's just a mental situation. It's just the way teams have to commit themselves with developing for high level. So of course, good challenge to face the coach again. Let's hope we can succeed. But more than hope, let's work for it to happen, because hope will not bring nothing just by hope. Can help, we'll pray also for that, but we need also to make our part.
Can you do that? Thank you, colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
24 minutes.